Hi, good day everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this exciting event on Mastering BIM and BoQ with Open BIM Quantities, a guide for quantity surveyors from Kuala Lumpur in Cype. My name is Edna and I'm honored to be your moderator or host for this session. Can go to the next slide. Before we dive into our topic today, let me give you a brief introduction on Cype, or we call it Cype. Okay, Cype is a leading company in over 40 years of experience in the development and distribution of technical software for architecture, engineering, and construction. With a strong focus on building information modeling, BIM, Cype offers a comprehensive suite of tools that enhance project efficiency, accuracy, and collaboration. Their solutions are used by professionals in over 180 countries, supporting multiple languages and adapting to a wide range of building codes and standards. Sorry, Martin, next slide. Cype commitments to innovation and quality has made it trusted partners for construction professionals worldwide. Next slide. Okay, here you can see on this slide an overview of the key areas that Cype focuses on. The areas include architecture, MEP, that is mechanical, electrical, plumbing, as well as fire, structures, and project management. Each of these areas represent a crucial aspect of the construction and building industry, where Cype software solutions are designed to help professionals achieve their project goals with greater ease and precision. All right, next slide. Okay, not to forget, Cype works with all traditional methods from 2D, CAD drawings and plans, but also provide users the option to engage with an optional BIM digital workflow via our own software programs and through our CDE platform that is called BIMserver.center. So you can download this. This is free for everyone. Okay, next slide. Now, I would like to introduce our esteemed presenter today, Mr. Martin. Okay, Martin is a highly experienced professional architect with extensive AEC industry and project management knowledge. He's been in the industry for several years, practicing in Madrid. So we are thrilled to have him here to share valuable insight and practical tips on how Cype Open BIM Quantities can enhance the preparation of bill of quantities for the quantity surveyors. Today, we will cover several key areas, harnessing the power of BIM to automate the generation of quantities and documents, enabling automatic measurements and streamlining the preparation of bill of quantity. Second, introduction to Cype Open BIM Quantities and its relevance to quantity surveying. Third, how to integrate Cype Open BIM Quantities with the preparation of the bill of quantities. Last but not least, practical tips and guide for quantity surveyors to master BIM and Open BIM Quantities. All right. Before we begin, let's have a few housekeeping items. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the chat box. We will address them as soon as possible. Also, this session is being recorded and will be available for replay after this event. Not to waste any more time, Martin, can you start by giving us a brief overview of what Cype Open BIM Quantities is and why it is important for the construction industry, and how does Cype Open BIM Quantities specifically benefit quantity surveyors in their daily tasks.
Great, thank you, Edna. Hi, good morning or good afternoon to everyone, depending on where you are, right? I'll just go ahead and start with my exposition with the webinar, and there are good questions, right? I'll show you by using the program. So the Open BIM Quantities is a software that's it has interesting features, relevant ones that are different from each other, but altogether they enable the automation of the generation of bill of quantities and the cost management of all the cost related issues of a construction project. I always start by showing the Cype menu from where we actually open the software. If we wish to, we may also download it and have it directly in the desktop. But if we have more than one Cype software, we may just start from here. And the first view of the program that we have is the possibility of opening a new file, the possibility of opening an already existing file that we have created previously and filed and organized in our computer, and we have access to the examples that come with the program and that they're for training purposes, right? So I have already opened my files to show the program. I'll just close this one and open the ones that I already have prepared. I was telling Open BIM Quantities is a program, a software that's maybe many tools put together into one. Let's see. For example, on one hand, it's a powerful BIM viewer, right? It's the possibility of reading a BIM model, a 3D model coming from a modeler, like we have in Cype, for example, the Cype architecture or the IFC builder. Those are free BIM modelers that are professional ones, but there are many famous modelers in the market right now. So as long as the format that we manage is the IFC, which is the standard for the Open BIM globally, Open BIM Quantities is able to read the model and to display its properties, elements, and so on. So on one hand, we have a 3D viewer, right?
Yeah.
On the other hand, we have the entities panel. The entities panel is the panel where all the elements present in the BIM model, in the IFC file, are displayed. All the elements that are present in the model, the small walls, the slabs, the windows, everything is displayed and listed in this tree of information here with all the IFC elements that exist. So we have on one hand the possibility of viewing the 3D, the visuals of the model, and on the other hand, the possibility of watching the information, the structured information of the BIM model, right?
Yeah.
And it is also relevant to highlight this last panel over here, the properties panel, where we not only have the information of the IFC element, right? If it's a wall, a door, or a slab, but also we have the specific properties of that element. And by properties, I mean the entity, the global ID, the name, the tags, whatever information comes with the IFC, but also the actual quantities related information, the area, the length, the width, depending on the sort of element, there'll be some properties or another ones. So we may have the cross-section area, net volume, gross volume, right? So this is the place where all those properties from each element are displayed. So this is one part of the program, the possibility of displaying the actual BIM model. And then a relevant part of the program, apart from this is the cost database area. So on one hand, the program is a BIM viewer, a powerful one, really, really useful, but it is also a database editor. By accessing that area, we have the possibility of, this is an example that comes with the program, right?
All right.
We have the possibility of using the information that we may have as professionals of the names and the description of possible construction systems, right? With their prices, with the units that are relevant for those sort of elements, and structure that information in a useful way to have it listed and to have it available to be linked to all these elements of the BIM model. What we're seeing is an example that comes with the program, right? It's a database with a simple structure of chapters that are consistent with the phases of a construction project. This is easy to do, it's easy to edit, and of course we have possibilities of importing this information from other formats. The standard we use is the BC3, but we may import from CSV spreadsheets, regular ones, and databases that are available in the market.
Yeah.
What we do with this program is, if we are working in a BIM workflow, is to connect all the information of these elements with the information present in the database. So we connect the actual properties of the elements, the quantities, the volume, the length, with actual descriptions of actual construction systems with their prices. And we automate that process in a simple way by using this set of measurement rules. And the outcome of that is, when we go to the other tab of the program, this is the quantities area, the measurement part of the program. If we move to the bill of quantities, what we get is the automatic generation of the bill of quantities in many different formats. We have the possibility to control the columns, the possibility to control the output, and so on. I haven't been writing all this information that you see on screen. I haven't been typing preliminary works. I just hit one button, update the quantities, and the program links the cost database with the measurement rules assigned to the BIM model, and that's generated.
This is default, right? By default.
I don't get the question. Excuse me. By default, you mean?
It's already in the system.
Yes, I mean, once we link the database, in this case, it's an example already present in the program, right? With the actual model, the 3D generated by a BIM modeler. It's generated automatically. This configuration, I get you now, is the default configuration of the outcome of the bill of quantities. Excuse me, I didn't get that. This is the format. This is the format that comes by default, but you may change that. Now I'll show you maybe a little bit more of that.
Maybe later, yeah.
Yes.
Yes. All right, Martin. Okay, I have another question for you. This relates to the integration of Cype Open BIM Quantities with the bill of quantities. Could you provide us an example or a case study where Cype Open BIM Quantities significantly improve the accuracy and efficiency of creating a bill of quantities? Also, what are the key steps involved in integrating Cype Open BIM Quantities with the preparation of the quantities?
Okay, I'll go ahead. I have an example actually, and there are interesting questions or interesting points to start with this program. You asked earlier 2 questions and I forget the second one, right? So I'll just go ahead and answer right now. Why is this interesting? Why it is useful? The idea is that once we get this automation that I just described, right? Linking the the IFC elements, the information present in the BIM model with the information present in the cost database, that in the end of the day is a list. It's like a catalog of possible solutions with prices, right? Once we have that, and we automate the generation of the bill of quantities, we excuse me, we no longer have we no longer need to be manually measuring each of the elements like we have been doing in the traditional methods, right? We don't have to actually measuring the amount of meters of walls in the perimeter of the building. The program does it by itself. So in the next project, we don't have to be measuring the counting windows, right? It's the program does it. It just displays the amount of windows, right? So that's one thing. But in the other, another relevant issue is that if the project is changed, if the geometry of the building is modified during the project, right? All those changes are updated automatically. I don't have to work again in order to get the measured elements with their prices each time the project changes. It's just updating information, and now we get automatically. So we no longer have to manually measure if we don't wish to, and we no longer have to be modifying all this work each time the project changes. That was for the second question that you had. So I'll go ahead and show an example and maybe a little bit of how we use it, the key steps in order to do this, right?
Yeah.
This is an example. This is an existing building. This 3D model we have on screen hasn't been modeled. I insist in this part, hasn't been modeled within this program. It has been modeled somewhere else in a BIM modeler.
Okay.
And we are reading this information from the BIMserver.center, which I'll show briefly, right? I'll show my personal profile in the BIMserver.center, right? So I have this project over there, and the information was read by the program from that common data environment. That's the BIMserver.center, right? Once I updated the information, I have it here, and I may measure the building. So let's show an example on how to use these tools. We have the empty bill of quantities in this tab. So we have cost database. I'll go ahead with the blue one. The blue means it's an example coming in the program. But in order to actually modify and visualize what's inside, we need to get a copy of that. We just click copy, and that's it. I'll access the copy. Now I may edit, open the database, and that's it. What we have here is a structure of information. I'll just briefly show how easy it is to actually create this and edit it. So let's go and create a work section. I'm just choosing a code and a name. And we have another chapter over there. I'm just typing in order to get like a structure of a work section within another one. And to create an item, I just choose a code. It's up to me. The idea is that it's consistent with the other elements in the database, right? And just example code 001 is just, and I could choose, maybe it's meters, maybe it's actually units, whatever, and the price. Excuse me, I'm not used to this keyboard.
It's okay.
And we have created an item in the cost database, the work section structure and the actual solution with a description. This could be a wall with the text could be wall with bricks, and then an air area, and then insulation and painter. We could describe whatever, and then if we have the information from previous works, from previous projects, even the price, or if we have access to catalogs of solutions existing in the market, we just code it this way, and that's it. We can reuse this information from one project to the next. I'll just delete all these. It's just an example. So I have created a small mini database with only 2 things inside, 2 elements, right? Which is this example for this presentation. It's 2 elements, masonry and insulation for an exterior walls solution. We don't even have a structure of information. I just created those with a price, and that's it. So pick that one. And I'd like to show how to generate this concept. That's the sets of measurement rules. A measurement rule is the tool we use to connect the elements in the BIM model with the prices and the descriptions of the information contained in the database, in the cost database. So just create a new one. I'll just add exterior walls. I'll just generate a new set for measuring only the exterior walls of this project. I'll just create a work structure, an F over there. I'm just choosing randomly the names, and that's it. And now I'll just create a new rule of measurement. So what are these tools we have here? What we have is a place where we select, we tell the program which elements to select and which ones will leave outside our selection criteria. And then we have another part. So here we define the selection criteria. We tell the program what elements to choose and which ones don't, right? And then we have this other part where we assign those elements solutions present in the cost database. To do this, we just add a selection criteria. I'll tell the program, for example, I want all the elements where the entity, the parameter entity, are IFC walls. This is a simple concept and an easy idea to understand. Now we're telling the program, okay, we've just selected all the walls, all the elements that are walls present in the model. But I don't want all the walls. I don't want the internal partitions, right? There's possibly another solution and another price for the partition of the interior of the building than the envelope, the exterior walls. So I want only the exterior ones. So I may choose all the elements where the type name is the ethics facade. This is a possible solution, right? If I don't have actually accurate information coming from the BIM model, I may rely on the quantities, right? I may choose all the walls where the width is the one that I want to choose, right? If it's an exterior wall, as we have elements with 30 centimeters, 20, 10 centimeters, or 15, I may know that the 30 centimeters ones are probably the exterior walls. I know this because I know the projects, right? So I just may rely on that information. And I have this selection criteria. And in order to, now I've selected the walls and specifically the exterior wall, specifically the exterior walls, right? And I assign solutions. So I want to assign to all those elements a solution that's masonry. What is it I'll measure of those elements? The net side area, because they are walls and the specific price comes by square meter. The net side area means that it discounts the openings such as windows, right? If I chose the gross side area, I would not discount those openings. And I also want the insulation. And that's it. Now I may close this area, just apply and accept. And I need to make sure that I've selected this set of measurement rules, right, in order for the program to work. And what do we get from here? Now we move to the View of Quantities tab. We just hit one button. We select the database that's the one for this example and the set of measurement rules. Click accept, and that's it. We've automatically measured and priced all the exterior walls of the project. By doing this again and again with the different elements, the slabs, the roofs, the windows, again and again, what we get is the complete automation of this measurement process. We may show this with the example, right? The cost database, which is complete, not only for the exterior walls, and the set of measurement rules, which is also complete. And if we move to the bill of quantities area, we just update. It will take a few seconds, maybe a few minutes, but we're not actually manually typing and so on, right?
Yeah.
And we have the complete pricing and measurement of the project. We may display all this information. Of course, we may go ahead and choose the currency of the country we're working at, maybe dollars, maybe, for example, this is for Malaysia. And we have the actual currency over there. Of course, we need to be aware of what currency we're working at when working in the database, in the cost database, right? And we have the possibility to control the look and the format of this outcome too, right? So this would be like the step-by-step of how to measure and how to use the program to automate all this process.
All right. I believe that also that Cype is implementing the standard method of measurement 2 of Malaysia in the system as well. I think it's like 70% there, and yeah, that's what I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Martin?
Yes, as far as I know, I don't have the precise information on the percentage, right? I don't know which is the state we are at, but yes, actually there's a big effort being put into the adequation to the standards of that area.
Yeah.
In Cype, we've been working for decades now in the format of the databases that are usual here in the Western part of the world, specifically in the Spanish-speaking and the Portuguese, French. You know, this is not new. This is like decades old, the format of the databases and then the actual use of these standards. And we are quickly adapting to those you mentioned to be as useful as possible.
Right.
Over there too.
Yeah, I've heard that they are implementing the SMM2 inside. Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I think you can continue back your presentation.
This is perfect. I mean, this is for our viewers to get to know us better and to get all the information. I think it's relevant to say that all this BIM workflow, it's great and it's really productive and powerful, but it's also optional. I mean, there's still a big part of the market and a big amount of users that still prefer the traditional 2D workflows, and it's fine, right? And it's no problem at all. If we wish to work instead of with a BIM model with a 2D classic way of working, we can. We just use the program only from within this tab here. We're in the bill of quantities tab.
All right.
And in this 3D view panel, instead of reading a BIM model from BIMserver.center, what we should do is open an empty file and load by using these 3 commands over there, the DXF, DWG tools over there. We may load plans in the DXF format, for example, or DWG, or PDF, even image files. We would import that. We would see this as a 2D image. We're seeing a 2D image now, but it's a 3D model over here, right? But we would see this as a regular plan like we've been doing for decades. And we could use these powerful tools over here to manually measure in a really productive way the 2D. So we have this other option too, but we focus this presentation on the BIM possibilities because it's actually really interesting.
Yes, yes, it is. Especially now that the Prime Minister of Malaysia has announced that all new projects in Malaysia have to be BIM. So it have to be in all in how do I see this? It have to be submitted in a 3D models in IFC or whatever files it is, but the whole ecosystem of the project it have to be related to BIM. Yeah, yeah. So okay, Martin, I have another question. If you are okay, that
Sure.
I would like to ask what will be the output for quantity surveyors who are new to using Cype Open BIM Quantities?
Excuse me, the question is about the output, right?
Yes, correct.
Perfect. It's good that you mentioned these BIM requirements coming from governments. It's not only Malaysia. In the end of the day, we are aware that governments all over are implementing this sort of requirements related with BIM. So it's good news that you mentioned that before the question, because it's interesting to know that we have here in the program the possibility to edit which will be those columns over there, right? All these columns, the code, unit, summary, quantities, amount. We have the possibility to decide not to display the cost, for example, the prices. We have the possibility to display, we have the options are here, right? Columns, command over there, and we open this window. And we may even define the amount of BIM involved in the project. In this case, it's fully BIM, and this is interesting in order to actually document to show this to the regulation institutions and different governments. This is part of the document that will be automatically generated by the program, right? So we may control that. We may not show it if we don't want to. We may show more than just the basics or less.
Okay.
About the output, this is the look of the complete project having been measured with solutions and prices and quantities of units of the different elements. So this is the first stage of the output we get from the program. From here, we have many possibilities. In the end of the day, this is a table. So we might just go ahead and copy the whole table and paste it somewhere else in a spreadsheet, right? This is an easy way to getting the information out of the program. It wouldn't be necessary because it's what we do in Cype, not only in the quantities or builds of quantities area, but also in the structures, MEP, HVAC, and so on. We are concerned about the productivity for users. So we automate the generation of documents. If we see the upper right side of the upper right area of the screen, we have this reports command over here, and what we do is to automate the generation of different possible documents. We may get automatically the price bill of quantities in the format of a table with all those elements that have been displayed in the program, but in a document that we may get out of the program into a regular format. So this is automatically generated. It's just one click, and I may get that into PDF or into a document format, a Word, if we wish to go ahead and edit more of that. We have different possibilities. The detailed bill of quantities, as you see, the pages are more, and we have like the index, the list of the elements measured line by line. Excuse me, measured line by line. Specifically tiny bits of walls that have been measured. This is another possibility, really detailed and precise and so on. And with the units, we may get the report as a summary or only the quantities. Let's show the quantities. That's only quantities without without prices, without euros or currencies involved over there. So only displaying which amount of cubic meters in this case, for example, or what amount of units. If it's a window, it's one window, two windows, only the amounts over there, only the quantities. And if we are working in a BIM workflow and sharing our work with other users or other collaborators inside our project, we may go back to the quantities tab of the program and hit share, and the program automatically shares all of them in the PDF format with the other collaborators that are invited to our project, right? So these are possible outputs. There's more. We have this BC3 format that's really widespread in the Spanish-speaking countries. Also, it's in the Portuguese ones, and it's been like really decades working, and it's really efficient. World-class format, and the idea is that we all get the structure of information in always the same format, right? So we easily get information from previous projects, from manufacturers, from whatever source, even other colleagues, So we get the possibility to export this bill of quantities as a BC3 file, and we may turn that even into a cost database for the next project without just omitting the amounts, just one unit to each of the elements, and now we get a new cost database with and for the next project, right? So these are really interesting possibilities on the outputs, right? There's just a few of them.
Okay, thank you. You're talking about cost database. Okay, I have a question. What how do you say it? Common challenges for quantity surveyors is that when they're implementing Cype Open BIM Quantities, and are there any best practice or standard they should follow to overcome these challenges?
It's a great question. I'm thinking about two key areas right now. One of them would be the management of the cost databases, and the other one would be the management of the model that we get. So I'll start by the second one, how we manage the information of the actual 3D model that we get from somewhere else if we haven't created that.
Okay.
So this is a challenge, right? Because when we work with many collaborators, or we're not involved in all the areas, it's interesting to know that we don't have to rely only in the quality of the model. If we have a little training, a little practice with this sort of programs, this is not only about the Open BIM Quantities, but any BIM viewer, any software that's able to analyze BIM models. It's interesting to get familiar with these concepts. Here in the properties panel, down here, excuse me.
Yeah.
We have properties that are that come with the actual modeling of an element. When we model a wall, you're modeling a rectangle with then it becomes a prism, like with an area and the volume and so on. All those properties, quantities, are there present in the actual element. So this panel here, the properties panel, displays those quantities. The example I showed about the walls, it's a good example for this sort of issues. Because as we see in this model specifically, the modeler, the person that generated this geometry and the information present in the model, they put tags, names, they structured information in an interesting and useful way, but we don't know if that's going to happen. So if we get a messy information from the model with no names or just undefined elements there, we may rely on the quantities. And if we know on the industry, if we know about construction, we may know that the walls that are exterior are thicker than the ones that are interior. So using that concept that are present in our knowledge of the industry, we may get more productivity of models that are maybe not that good. For example, the same with the thickness of the slabs, the dimensions of the columns, all these elements. If we rely on our knowledge on the actual quantities, we may get good information, good productivity of the model, even when the information hasn't been generated by ourselves and we don't know where it comes from and we don't have it complete. Still, the Open BIM Quantities allows us to work with that. And another challenge is the management of information from within the editing of the databases. We use this word, the cost databases, to describe a list of possible solutions for different construction elements, and with a description and a price, and as a unit assigned to the specific solution, right? So there's solutions that are getting measured in cubic meters. This will be concrete, for example. There's solutions that may be measured in linear meters, maybe some specific sorts of walls, maybe a pipe, maybe different ducts, maybe they might be measured in meters, linear meters. And there's elements that get measured in units, such as a window or door, furniture. So the idea is that if we are consistent in the management of our cost databases, if we take the time to get the information we already have from our manufacturers, from previous projects, from even the market, from projects that are published, from information present in public institutions and so on. If we get information always in the same format, in this case we use the BC3, if we get familiar with this management of information, as you see, it's not hard. I've showed a brief example on how to do this. It's just creating the structure of information. Usually it's consistent with the phases of the projects that we used to do, right? Facilitating works, excavations, maybe substructures, structures above the level 0, that's superstructure, walls, insulation, roofs. If we get our databases in a consistent format internally, as in our practice, in our firms, as users, right? We'll get much more productivity of this sort of tools. We already know what we have paid in our previous project for square meter of wall or painter, right? We have that information there. If we turn that information into useful information for us to automate the next project, we have powerful tools there.
All right. Thank you, Martin. Okay, I have one last question before we wrap it up for today. Okay, how can a quantity surveyor stay updated with the latest advancement in Cype Open BIM Quantities, and where can they find information on the product, downloads, and support? That will be my last question for the day. We're not gonna hold everybody up.
That is really useful question, right? This is how do we get there? How do we get information? I'll just show you. We use the BIMserver.center platform not only as a common data environment where to store our projects, right, or to place the information of our BIM projects, but also as a place that works as a store and as a even it has an area that's like a social media if we wish to share the information on projects or not, or for marketing purposes, for everybody to know what we're doing with BIM if we want to, right? So I'll show the BIMserver.center in order to let our audience know how to get there, how to get the information, and how to get up-to-date.
Yeah.
We just type BIMserver.center, that's it. Or may just even Google it. As I'm already logged in, what we access is my personal profile of the of the platform, right?
Okay.
This would be the initial view. If I want to go to my projects area, I will access the projects button over there and get, this is my private area where I get the information stored of recent projects and so on. And if we want to get to the information of the different software, we need to access the store part of the BIMserver.center platform. We're already there. In order to get there, you may even just type store.bimserver.center.com. Excuse me, store.bimserver.center. No com there.
Yes.
And that's it. We get there. In order to actually download the program and try it and so on, we recommend the use of the Cype menu.
Okay.
I'm accessing from the store the Cype menu button over there. We may download, excuse me, we may download it, right? And what we get is this menu we have over there, right?
Yeah.
That's if we want to get the actual program and download it. If we want to actually, if we don't have it in our computer, by clicking this 3 dots over there,
Right.
we may just download it over there. That's it. That's the way we get the program. There's the possibility of trying it for a few days or 10 days. You may even tell that better than I. But if we want to access the information on the program, we may search it in the store, right? We just type quantities. We could actually look for it just scrolling down, right? And it's over there.
Yeah.
And here we have the possibility to download it directly without the Cype menu getting involved. We recommend the Cype menu, right? But also we have this web page button over there. If we access that, we access the Cype site, the web page of the company Cype, and specifically to the part where the information of this software is. We have detailed information over here. This is like a user manual, but online. All the information that you might think about is over there. How to do this, how to do that. That's a powerful area. And the learning resources
we have in the Open BIM Quantities as well. Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, and we have also webinars, tutorials, and all that over there. So if we wish to get up to date with information, with new releases, with updates, the BIMserver.center and the store are good places to start because we are always connected to the information in the latest version, right? So just by accessing the information over here, that's an interesting tool there to get up to date.
All right, thank you, Martin. Also, not to forget that our BIMserver.center is actually free, so any one of you can start sign in, register yourself, and you can use it. It's free for everyone to start off, to embark in BIM. Actually, if you don't have like the, how do you call it, the money to start off with something, because I do believe that to start BIM is actually you need to fork up a quite significant numbers to once you want to embark. So Cype is like providing you like BIMserver for free for everyone to start off with. I think we also have a few software there that is free for you as well. All right. Thank you, Martin. Okay. Before we conclude, I would like to remind everyone that the recording of this session will be available shortly. And if you have any questions or need additional information, or if you want to see another webinar from us with a different topic, feel free to reach out to us and give us some ideas what you want to see next, so we can arrange. And not to forget, there is a special promotion available for all our attendees today. So simply contact us and provide us the code BQ Asia. I think it's the previous slide, Martin. Yep. So you just inform us with this BQ Asia promotion code, and we will give you a special discount. Okay. You can reach us at Cype@cype.com, or visit our website at www.cype.com. Okay. Once again, thank you, Martin, for sharing your valuable insight and tips with us today. And thank you for our audience for your participations and great questions. We hope you found this session very informative and helpful. Okay.
Thank you, and thank you to our audience. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Hope to see you soon with the new topic.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Can't wait.
Yep, me too. All right. Thank you, guys. Cheers.